Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. For those of you that haven't been here before, welcome. My name's Janice and I'm a Thermomix consultant. So we're busy cooking goodies for Christmas, and this seems to be all I'm doing at the moment. But I've got a recipe here that it's a conventional cooking recipe, but I do some of the stages in the Thermomix. So I use the scales and I use the heat up function to melt the butter and the honey together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the butter, water and honey in here melting, and then while that's going, because it's going to be on a low speed, I will still be able to use the scales. So we'll start off with, and I'm going to weigh the flour into this big bowl here. So this recipe, you make the dough and then you cover it with plastic and leave it to sit on the bench overnight. You do not put it in the fridge, otherwise you end up with a rock that you can do nothing with. But if you leave it sitting on the bench, it comes out beautiful, soft, fluffy dough, and you just scoop it up and bake it. But anyway, for the meantime, what we're going to do is we're going to get on and make this recipe. Now I've got it down here in an awkward position. I'm going to share this recipe with you. I will type it up and I'll put it in the description box. But I'm doubling it. So I've got about 12 Christmas hampers that I'm making, and they all get a nice little bag of these cookies. And they're Christmas honey biscuits, and they're soft. They're very similar to the honey jumbles. They're a sort of a sponge-like biscuit with crispy royal icing. So rightio, here we go. We're going to start off with, we need the scales. So we melt the honey, sugar, butter and water. So we need, it says 225 grams of honey. So I am doubling this, so it's going to be 450. I don't know that I've got enough in here, but I might scoop it out. It's a bit crystallised, this honey. Just grab it. See, this is actually Gumby Gumby Farm honey, and this is my boss. These are his bees. And it is delicious. It's a raw bush honey, and he's got his little bee block out in amongst the bush. What do you call it? Trees, like your box and all that. I don't know it off the top of my head, but this is really, really, really nice bush honey. If your honey crystallises, you can just put it in a sink of warm water and it will return to its normal state. But don't put it in the microwave or anything like that, because you'll ruin it. You'll destroy all the good things in it. Oops. Maybe I should have weighed this out earlier. Getting a bit sticky. Okay. this out. There might actually be enough in this bottle to get 450 grams. Let's see. I have got another bottle just here, ready to go. This might be just perfect. Look at that. Okay, let's put that in there. I'm very sticky. That's fine. Now we're going to tear that, and we want, that was honey, and now we want sugar. So it is also 225 grams of sugar, or 450 grams because we're doubling it. You can use whatever sugar you like, raw sugar or white sugar. I'm just using white sugar. So 250 grams of butter, or because we are doubling it, it's going to be 450. I'm telling myself that I'm doubling it more than you because otherwise I will forget and I'll wreck it. Okay, 450. I don't know if I'll have enough butter here. I've already used some of this. It's only a 500 gram block. Rightio. Just hold that thought. I'm going to grab a little bit more. So anyway, just under a tablespoon. Okay, perfect. And now we need some water. So I think it's half a cup of water. So we'll double it and we'll go 250 grams. Okay, that's a little bit more. Doesn't matter. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we'll pop the lid on, and you can, I'm going to melt it at 50 degrees, and so you can go in here and set it at 50 degrees. What I'm going to do is, because I have the TM6, I'm going to go to the warm-up mode, and I'm going to warm it up to 50 degrees, wrong way, there. And so all that's going to do is, that's going to go, and once it gets to 50 degrees, it'll stop. So it'll decide how long it needs to go for. Ooh, actually, I don't think you can use two modes at a time. So what we're going to do is we'll go back, we'll come back to that one. You can't use, I want to use the scales. So we're going to go back to the beginning, and we'll go just a minute and a half, 50 degrees on speed 1. Radio. And now we'll weigh in our dry ingredients. So we can pop that on here, and we'll go scales. So the only thing we're weighing now is the flour. So we want, it says 570, or, because we're doubling it, what's that? That's 1 kilo, 140 grams. Oops. It's not like this. See, I'm standing on my very tippiest toes here. Excellent. I'm not quite there. I'll have to get another bag of flour. Whoa! Very good. Okay. I'll just ignore that for a minute while I get another 70 grams in here. Pull that off, and now what we're going to do is now we'll go to our warm-up mode, 50 degrees. Let's go on speed 1. Rightio? And now we need the rest of our dry ingredients, which are, we have 1 heaped teaspoon of ground cloves. So remember, we've doubled it, so that's going to be 2. Half a teaspoon of cinnamon, so that's just 1 teaspoon. Then we've got 1 teaspoon of ginger, so that's 2. We always like to give it a little extra ginger. And then we need bicarb, which is what gives it our lovely fluffy. So you can sift this. You can sift this into the bowl. I don't. It gives a slightly better texture if you sift it, but it's not that great that I need to do it, that I feel the need to do it. What is it? A heaped teaspoon of bicarb. And we're doubling it, so I'm going to do 2. So this is just another example of how you can use your Thermomix. I'm not cooking in it. I'm using it as a kitchen appliance, as a kitchen tool to save me time. So I haven't got to get a pot out and put it on the stove and watch it while the butter melts. I'm just going to let the Thermomix do it. Rightio? I'll be back when it melts. Okay, so that's finished, and we'll have a look. Okay. If you want it to stop chiming, you can just tap on the screen, and it'll stop chiming. Let's have a look. I did poke the spatula through the hole, just to give it a little stir, just to push the butter down, because it was floating a bit. Still is. I'm just going to give that a stir through, because there should be enough heat to finish off that melting that butter. I probably should have cut it up smaller, but anyway. C'est la vie. I'll just show you that now. I don't know if you saw all the butter floating before. Okay. So what I've done here is I've just used a wire whisk to just fluff up the flour a bit and mix the spices through and the bicarb. This recipe is one of the ones that I only make at Christmas time, and it is one of the favourites. Like all my kids love this one. And I like to save it for Christmas, so it's something special. I'm just going to make a well in the middle that I can pour that melted butter into. Okay. Give it another stir. We're nearly there. We've only got a couple of little tiny pats of butter left. Oh yeah. If you can see that, there's only a few tiny bits left, and as I stir, they're sort of like, they're just melting. Okay. I don't want to heat it up too much more, otherwise then I've got to wait for it to cool down before I pour it into the flour. So it says here to melt it and then let it cool. Now that there is quite cool. Okay, you can see there was a couple of tiny little bits of butter still there, but that has also melted all the honey. It was quite crystallised, but yeah. Also, if your honey crystallises, you can just stick it on the windowsill, not in the bottle, put the bottle on the windowsill in the sun, and it will return to a liquid form. So this is a super soft batter at the moment, and it's quite easy to stir up. I need to improve my camera situation. I could show you this, but it's otherwise if I try and show you it, I'll tip it on the floor. You can see how liquid that is, and that is, whoops, the correct consistency. Now you could make this in the Thermomix, but because I do, a double batch. It's too big, it won't fit. So I think there's a similar recipe on cookie dough. Okay. So that's done for the day. And I just pop a cloth over the top, a tea towel over the top, and I'm going to leave this overnight, and I will return and bake these all in the morning. Right? I'll come back and give a little short segment on plopping it onto the baking trays, but I will come back when we're going to ice it, and we'll add that onto the end of this video as well. Right now, I'll be back. Hi everyone, so we're up to, we're cooking the biscuits. Now, in our house we have no rules about not picking the batter. And I was going to show you the lovely smooth dough, but someone has had a little taste. I haven't asked the question, so not quite sure who the someone was, but that's it there. So that's, you remember how runny that was? And now you can make these as big as you like. I do like my cookie skirt. It is, and I just go like that and like that. I don't flatten them out, I leave them like that, and they spread a little bit. And then once they come out of the oven, I leave them to cool, and then once they're cold, I make some royal icing. I like the recipe in the on cookie dough. That's the one I like for, and it's just a dipping one, so that you dip them in, and it gives it that lovely, shiny little crisp of icing on the top of the biscuit. We don't want it real thick. You just want just the little shell. Rightio. I'll leave the video there, and I'll come back when we're ready to make the icing and to dip them. So we're ready to ice the ginger biscuits. So I made them a couple of days ago, and they've just been in a airtight container, waiting for me to get around to icing them. Now we're doing a royal icing, which is on cookie dough. Now, royal icing is just sugar, egg white, and an acid. Like lemon juice is the most popular. I do use vinegar sometimes, depending on what I'm using it for. So anyway, so let's just start cooking. I'm going to do one batch, ice as many as I can, then see how I go. I've got a couple of leftover egg whites from when I made custard. So I've got 2 egg whites here, so I've got 2 egg whites to use, but I've got 1 here. Now first up we're going to mill the sugar. So we need 200 grams of white sugar. You can use raw sugar, but white sugar gives you the really nice white glaze. Oops, oh, it's not quite enough. And now we're going to put the lid on, and we'll mill that for 30 seconds on speed 10. want to stop that, you can just take that lid out and put a single piece of paper towel in there and pop that back in, and that'll stop the icing sugar from clouding up. So now we're going to add an egg white. And 1/4 teaspoon of lemon juice. I'm sure I've got... This is a 1/2 teaspoon. Put the lid back on with the measuring cup in place. Now we're going to mix that for 10 seconds. Speed 6. Okay, and it says use as required. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a quick look and see if it needs scraping down. Now I do want a bit more lemon juice in that because I want this as a dipping consistency, not like piping or spreading. That. I'm going to add another 1/4 teaspoon of lemon juice on. I'll drop the teaspoon measure into the lemon juice. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. That's okay. That's still a bit too thick for dipping. So I'm up to a full teaspoon of lemon juice. See how that looks. So I will I'm just going to transfer this into here. Okay. And I'll show you how it goes. These are our biscuits. Just dip them in there like that, and that sets like really crispy. It's just and what I'll actually do is I'll make myself a cup of coffee and then go and sit at the dining room table and do this because I've got quite a few of these biscuits to ice. I'll just show you. They only take the tiniest bit of icing. Oops, I didn't mean to dip it that far. Okay, but it does take a little while. So rightio, I'll be back and when these are all dried out and crispy. Rightio, round 2. I already did this, but I forgot to press record. So this is the finished biscuit. You can colour the icing if you want. It's you know, a nice pale pink, or I don't know, something red, green, I don't know, whatever you want. That's the finished biscuit. Now it's sort of a cakey biscuit. It's soft, but it's I don't know, I can't really describe it. It's yummy. So these will keep for quite a while in an airtight container. They don't last that long at my place. My kids gobble them up pretty quick, but I'd imagine you should get a couple of weeks out of a batch of biscuits just in an airtight container in your pantry. Rightio, if you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. Pop over to my channel and subscribe, and I really hope I'll see you next time.